Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruhu wa nu'minu bihi wa natawakkalu alayhi wa na'udhu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina man yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu wa man yudlilhu fala hadiya lahu wa nashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu ونشهد أن سيدنا وسندنا وشفيعنا محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون أياما معدودات صدق الله العظيم اللهم صل وسلم وبارك وارحم على عبدك ورسولك سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وسلم تسليما. Alhamdulillah. Now everyone in the world is, alhamdulillah, entered into the month of Ramadan. And now is a question that Allah Ta'ala has sent this time of Ramadan upon us. How deeply will we enter into this month of Ramadan? Earlier today, when we did the tafsir of the second juz, I was thinking, and I didn't say it then, udkhulu fi silmi kafa, that to enter the deen of Islam completely, absolutely, utterly, sufficiently. How do we achieve that? A very important way we achieve that is to enter into every aspect of deen, every act of deen, every ibadat of deen, every amal of deen deeply. And I think that all of us always need every Ramadan to do this, that we need to go deep into Ramadan, as deep as we can. And, Allahu Alam what's going to happen next year in the world or in any of our lives, but I think for almost everyone, Allahu Alam, maybe somebody was in a difficult situation last year or some previous year in their life. May Allah Ta'ala keep everyone always and ever in His hifaza and aman. But for most people, they feel that this year, Ramadan is a difficult year in their life. So the first thing I would say here is that we should do a lot of shukr to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That the vast majority of you who are listening, and myself, I include myself in that, we are of a privileged group of people who, despite what may be happening in the world, we have the means, financial, family, friends, whatever it may so be, to, relatively speaking, insulate and protect ourselves from the contingencies and crises of the world. But there's a very large segment of the ummah, I would say the majority of the ummah, and the majority of humanity are not so well insulated and so well protected. And so it may appear to us that this is in some way a difficult time or a difficult year to spend Ramadan, but actually for most of us it's not as difficult as we may be perceiving it to be. A second thing that many people are commenting upon or discussing or feeling or experiencing is that because in many places in the world the masajid are closed, or in the places that may yet be open, there is no taraweeh or iftar or suhoor, the three major things that are added to masjid activities in the month of Ramadan. And so some people are feeling, well, this may not be as spiritual a Ramadan in the past because they may not be able to spend as much time in the masjid. So I would remind you that there are things in our deen, very special acts of ibadah, that Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam himself did with the Sahaba outside the masjid. For example, Salatul Eid, and that's why it is preferred to pray Eid Salah in a lawn or a park or a ground or a large area, which is not a masjid. And this is very early, but we're in the start of Ramadan, we're going to be talking about Eid. But if you remember from previous years, if you ever heard a talk about Eid or on Eid day, Eid is a time when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends His special mercy on the gathering of Salatul Eid. and that all the angels descend to earth and line the pathways along which people are going to go for Eid Salah, and all of this is taking place outside the masjid. So this is a misunderstanding that only the masajid of Allah Ta'ala have a special spiritual character. That is true, that the masajid of Allah Ta'ala are the only dedicated places on earth that have a special spiritual character, but it doesn't mean that Allah Ta'ala's mercy is in any way confined to the masajid. So Eid Salah is one example. Another type of prayer, Salatul Istisqa. So in a period of drought, when there's no rain, again, it is preferred not in the masjid, but it is preferred to gather in the ground, maybe even the same place where people gather for Eid Salah, and to gather in the ground and to make dua to Allah Ta'ala for what? A worldly mercy. That Allah Ta'ala sends rain, material, physical, water, rain down on this world because the world needs it. So then if we feel that we are in this global pandemic and in this situation and we need Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we want to beg Allah Ta'ala, we want to turn to Allah Ta'ala to send down a special mercy of His, so it's not necessary that we need to turn to Him in the masjid, just like in Salatul Istisqa when we turn to Allah Ta'ala to send water in drought. Yes, there is a third element, however, and that is gathering as a community. So because in these two examples I gave you, in Salatul Eid, it's a large gathering of a lot of people, right? With no social distancing. And Salatul Istisqa is again, the prayer that is prayed during drought to beg Allah Ta'ala for rain, is again a large gathering of a lot of people without social distancing. And so that is a feeling that yes, that because we are not able to do that ibadah with masses of people, or there's a beauty in Islam about praying to Allah Ta'ala near strangers, right? People you don't know. And now, yes, alhamdulillah, the ulama have rightly guided that in those places where the masajid are closed, or even in those places, by the way, where masajid are open, but it may not actually be ideal or appropriate for everyone to go to the masjid. So yes, we are praying with our family, right? And that is a different beauty. And many of us are maybe experiencing that for the first time because we're so used to praying in the masjid. But at the same time, there's a certain beauty about breaking the fast with a stranger. There's a beauty about standing in Taraweeh next to a stranger. There's a sense of solidarity there in the ummah. And that is something, yes, I can say that we will be missing this year. Right? But it doesn't mean in any way, that's our feeling, that's our emotion of solidarity. It doesn't mean in any way that we're going to miss in any sense any mercy of Allah Ta'ala, any rahmah from Allah Ta'ala, or any barakah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, any blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah Ta'ala is Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, and Ramadan is the month of blessings, irrespective of anything that may be happening in the world. In fact, sometimes I imagine that before Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ramadan existed, right? So for example, and this is something I talked about earlier today as well, and I will expand on that more here, that Allah Ta'ala says in Quran that Ramadan, Shahr Ramadan alladhi unzila fihi al-Qur'an, that the month of Ramadan is the month in which Quran al-Kareem was revealed. And there are two aspects to this revelation, therefore there are two aspects to Ramadan. In the first sense, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the entire Quran, Kalamullah, on Allah al-Mahfuz, on this eternally preserved tablet, if you will. Entire Quran. Now, when this revelation of Allah Ta'ala, sending Quran al-Kareem, inscribing Quran al-Kareem on Allah al-Mahfuz, took place, in all likelihood, that is before the earth and the moon and the solar system were created. So Ramadan is actually a lunar month, right? Ramadan is just representative of a certain time that repeats itself based on the orbit of the earth around the sun and the orbit of the moon around the earth. And if the sun and the moon and the earth don't exist, and that concept of lunar month of Ramadan does not exist. So actually there's another kind of Ramadan, and I'm going to be explaining something more than I did earlier. There's another kind of Ramadan which transcends space-time. Alright? Is a transcendent realm. And in that transcendent Wara al-Wara Ramadan, Allah Ta'ala revealed the entire Quran and Lawh al-Mahfuz. And similarly, secondly, in space-time Ramadan, in the lunar month of Ramadan, 1400 plus years ago, Allah Ta'ala revealed the first revelation of Iqra on the heart of Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So what I was saying was that I imagine that before Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the lunar month of Ramadan has existed. As long as the earth and the moon and the sun have existed, the lunar month of Ramadan has existed. So even in the times of the other Anbiya alayhim as-salam ajmain. Now we do not have any authentic transmitted knowledge that any of the other Anbiya talk about this particular month or did some special worship in this month. But they did live in this month, right? So in Isa alayhi salam's lifetime, he must have been alive in several Ramadans. Nabi Musa alayhi salam must have been alive in several Ramadans. And all of humanity, because humanity has always been on earth, all of humanity has experienced Ramadan. And Ramadan itself, irrespective of any masjid, itikaf, any gathering, Ramadan itself is the month of the mercy and blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so now we have to connect to that greater Ramadan. So maybe we cannot connect with one another so much in spirit of community. So now we have to have a higher solidarity, a higher connection. And we are all existing, we are alive. That is our connection. That we are alive in a state of Iman, in a state of fasting or intending to fast in that month of Ramadan. Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah. This is the great karam fazl of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I have a lot of hope that this year Allah ta'ala will actually, inshallah ta'ala, work wonders, that there will be people who probably last year didn't fast and didn't value Ramadan. Maybe because they were quote-unquote non-practicing or self-identify as secular, liberal, whatnot, right? But it may be that this year, because of the global pandemic, they may actually turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They may actually be fasting. There's going to be people like that because of the situation in the world, this year is the first month, maybe after many years, first year after many years that they're actually going to fast the month of Ramadan. Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah. What an incredible mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we should be happy. And inshallah, I would assume that everybody who fasted last year, who's still alive, is going to fast this year also. And additionally, there are going to be more people in the ummah who may have been brought closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because of the worldly situation, and they're fasting. So we are a larger community this time. And the third thing is that non-Muslims, right, at this time, not because they know it's Ramadan, but because of the situation in the world, they're also, many of them, thinking and searching about deeper existential issues. Some of them must be feeling in their heart a void and emptiness and absence of that sukoon that can only come from iman and yaqeen in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Some of them may be wondering and wishing that there was some certainty, some stability in a world that seems to be increasingly uncertain, and they miss that anchor of iman. So we should do a lot of shukr, a lot of qadr. We should be very grateful, very appreciative to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He has blessed us with this month of Ramadan anytime, but especially this year at this time when the world, and even world including Muslims, are experiencing so many things. And inshallah ta'ala, in that sense, we meant that the month of Ramadan is itself the promised ease after hardship. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Quran al-Kareem, فَإِنَّ مَعَ الْأُسْرِ يُسْرًا, that indeed with every difficulty and hardship comes ease. And then Allah ta'ala repeats it, إِنَّ مَعَ الْأُسْرِ يُسْرًا, with every hardship comes ease. But there may be a waiting period. But for us, in terms of the ease that Ramadan brings, alhamdulillah, the waiting period is over. And we are in Ramadan. Now we have to dive deep into Ramadan. Go deep into Ramadan. We have to go deep into the fasting. Try to discover, some of the ulama, they used to use this term, like Shah Waliullah Muhaddis Daily bin Ta'ala, the hakika of fasting. It just shows you their niyyah, their intention. They didn't just want to fast. They wanted to go deep. What's the hakika of Sawm? What's its reality? How deep can I go? How deeply can I understand this? How deeply can I experience this? How intensely can I practice this? And they wanted to go deeper and deeper and deeper. That's our attitude that we have to have this year about Ramadan, and that is actually our outlook and perspective we should have for every single thing in Deen. Everything in Deen. How deep can I go in Quran? How deep can I go in my salah? How deep can I go in dua? How deep can I go in honesty? How deep can I go in kindness? How deep can I go in humility? How deep can I go into virtue? How deep can I go into khidmah? How deep can I go into service? Udkhulu fi silmi kafa. Allah Ta'ala is saying, enter the deen of Islam kafa. Adequately, sufficiently, deeply, completely, entirely. This is the attitude we should take, inshallah, at the start of Ramadan. Many of us, we had our first fast today, and some people maybe have had their second fast already. Allahu Alam. And the first fast is always something special, Alhamdulillah, right? Some people may forget, like I almost, because I was talking to them, I almost felt like just getting in there to remind myself I can't go and get water because I'm fasting. Allahu Akbar. So, the first fast is always something special. And I think that is also, a great gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He keeps us babies in Deen. This is actually a mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We're not professionals on Deen. We're not pros in Ramadan. We're not experts at this. For a lot of us, the first fast, we were just right back as if it's our first fast ever. We're just babies in Deen. And this is our reality. And we should embrace this. We should acknowledge this. We should hope that Allah Ta'ala sends His mercy on us. We are, fumbling, bumbling, stumbling upon Deen. But as long as there's direction, jihad, as long as there's movement, as long as there's intention, niyyah, but that's all Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to see. And alhamdulillah, that everybody managed. Everybody managed that today, or you've managed it for 2 days. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. But we have to now further that, increase that, deepen that. So I want to mention a few things, and actually I was feeling today that I can't remember when I've done this. I've given many one-off talks preparing for Ramadan, but there are actually a lot of things about Ramadan. One could do a whole entire course on Ramadan. So those of you who actually listen to in Urdu and English both, so yesterday in Urdu we gave a talk about Ramadan. Today I wanted to mention some things from Imam al-Ghazali, rahimahullah ta'ala, one of his amazing works, Ihya Ulumuddin. And these are actually a few things also I left out from the talk in Urdu. So the first thing is a hadith of Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam that Imam Muslim rahimahullah ta'ala narrated in his Sahih, and many other scholars of hadith have added in their collection. That is that Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says. So this is a special hadith called Hadith Qudsi. So what does it mean? It means that when Allah Ta'ala speaks Himself, that is called Kalamullah, and the words and meanings are from Allah Ta'ala, that's Quran. And then sometimes Allah Ta'ala speaks through the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and that is called Hadith Qudsi. So Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said that Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala said, every good deed that a person does, worship, behavior, character, service, every good deed is rewarded with 10 rewards, multiplied by up to 700 rewards. This is standard. This is outside Ramadan. During Ramadan, outside Ramadan, every good deed is rewarded with at least 10, and can be even rewarded with a reward multiplied all the way up to 700, except fasting. Allah Ta'ala said, except fasting. Why? Because Allah Ta'ala said, as-sawmu li, because the person fasts for me. Wa ana udza bihi, and I will reward them for fasting directly. Allahu Akbar kabira. So that means more than 700 times. More than 700 times. Now, just think, me and you, we fasted one day today. But Allah Ta'ala, so let me explain. Allah Ta'ala is going to treat this as if we fasted even more than 700 days. Allah Ta'ala is going to be happy with us as if we fasted even more than 700 days. Allah Ta'ala is going to reward us as if we fasted even more than 700 days. And Allah Ta'ala on the Day of Judgment is going to reward us Himself for every single fast. Not for all the Ramadans, not for each Ramadan, for every single fard fast. Allahu Akbar Kabira. Ya Allah. That's what it means that Allah Ta'ala is Shakirun Alim. Allah Ta'ala is Shakir. He's deeply appreciative of the acts that people, that His slaves and believers offer Him. It's like if somebody does something, if they're nice to you for one day, and you feel as if they were nice to you for more than 700 days, that's like more than 2 years. Now let's take this number, so more than 700, right? So let's pretend it's 2 years. That's a little bit more. Allah Ta'ala could make it billions of years. So if you fast 30 days, and you make each one of them multiplied by more than 700, so each one is multiplied by more than 2 years. So if you fast 30 days, it's as if you fasted more than 60 years, which is an adult lifetime, right? Because fasting is only further when you become an adult. Allahu Akbar. That's how much, minimally. And Allah Ta'ala can be infinitely more rewarding and infinitely more pleased and infinitely more happy. So Alhamdulillah, just this one fast has given us a huge astronomical boost in our relationship to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then in so one reason the ulama, so Imam al-Ghazali when he explained this hadith, he said that why is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying this, that fasting is for me? Everything we do is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? Everything we do is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Imam al-Ghazali said that fasting is practiced secretly. Now, you may be saying, no, everybody in my house knows I'm fasting, everybody in the family knows I'm fasting, but nobody really knows, right? You could have snuck a drink in here, you could have snuck a morsel in there. No one knows. Nobody was with you all day. Nobody can say from Fajr to Maghrib, I've watched this person every second, and I can testify that they did not drink anything or eat anything. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows. Whereas when you pray salah, somebody could say, yeah, I saw him pray 4 rakahs of Zuhr salah, right? So because no one truly knows about your fast except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then Allah ta'ala wants to reward it Himself. Now what happens in the month of Ramadan, right? And so I'm going to add some things I didn't mention last night in the Urdu talk. One thing is that Shaitaan, right? Shaitaan and all the Shayateen are shackled, are chained. This is a hadith that Imam Ahmed mentioned as Musnad, and Imam al-Nasa'i mentioned, as did Shaitan is shackled. All the shayateen. Now what does that mean? All of his minions and assistants and companions and aides and followers from the jinn, and his minions and assistants from humanity, they may not be physically shackled, but their ability to sow enmity, sow hatred, sow discord, sow sedition between people, that is also chained and shackled. Okay, so that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took care of that. So then what's left is our nafs. So what was left was our nafs. The nafs becomes shackled through the physical act of fasting. This is what happens. And so this is what happens to us in Ramadan. We get to experience what life would be like with a weakened nafs and with a chained shaitan. And this is why everybody, almost everybody, but I'm pretty sure everybody will say, in Ramadan I become a different person. Not just I become a different person. I become a better person. In Ramadan, my relationship with Allah Ta'ala changes so much. My desire to read Quran increases. My desire to pray Salah increases. I want to hear about Allah Ta'ala. I want to talk about Allah Ta'ala. I want to hear about Quran. I want to hear about the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And when I hear these things, I want to do them. I actually feel motivated. In this month, I don't think, oh, that's not me, or that's difficult, or how am I going to do that? In this month, everything I hear, I want to do it. Everything I hear, I think I can do it. This is what life would be like. If we could somehow protect ourselves from the whisperings of Shaitaan, that's through taqwa, and we could somehow weaken our nafs, and that is through starving it from sin. So here what happens is that we physically starve it from food and drink, and alhamdulillah, because most people sin much less and try their best not to sin at all and to be sinless in the month of Ramadan, we starve it from sin. So just think like this, like the ruh, the sustenance of the ruh is ibadah, taqwa, salihat is worship, piety, virtue, good deeds. And what makes the nafs strong is sin. What makes the nafs strong is indulgence in illicit desires. And actually the nafs even gets a little bit strong, not as bad as through sin, but even through certain permissible desires, right? When they are done in israf, when they are done in excess. So if you overeat, that will strengthen your nafs, right? If you sleep 12 hours a day, that will strengthen your nafs, but not as much as sinning strengthens the nafs. So this is a month where, alhamdulillah, we stay away from israf, we stay away from excess. We are balanced, and we try to starve our nafs from sin, and we certainly starve it ourselves from food and drink in the daylight hours. This is why the first type of fasting is to fast from the food and drink, and the second type of fasting is to fast from sin, and the third type of fasting, and this was very standard, Imam al-Ghazali was very fond of these tripartite divisions, right? And the third type of fasting is to fast from ghafla. In other words, that you fast from anything and everything, you abstain and refrain from anything and everything that does not connect you to Allah Ta'ala, that is not an act of worship, obedience, remembrance, service, fulfillment of our pledge of iman with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it means you make your life valuable, you make your time valuable, you spend your time productively. So that third aspect, maybe we can't do it entirely, but it's very important. So I think the first one everybody knows, understands. The second one I think also everybody understands, not to do sin, right? It's very famous, in Muslim countries, people say, oh, turn the music off, it's Ramadan. Oh, turn the TV off, it's Ramadan. Oh, do this, it's Ramadan. How could you say that? Don't you remember it's Ramadan? But alhamdulillah, it's a sweet thing. Sometimes people get, they mock this and say you should be doing it for Allah, is Ramadan your God? And obviously they're doing it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nobody has made Ramadan into a God. And yes, because of the barakah of Ramadan, they are more conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But let's talk about this third aspect of fasting. Leaving wasteful, futile things. This could be a way, this could be something that we could try to improve on this year. This could be a way that maybe we could dive deeper into Ramadan this year. So let's try to reduce the news. So I won't suggest eliminate it. Obviously, you do need to know a little bit to a little extent, and I repeat that, a little bit and a little extent about what is going on in the world. Some of us may have loved ones in very affected areas and are trying to keep track of that. But let's reduce it to a minimum. Let's reduce surfing to a minimum. Let's reduce news reading to a minimum. Let's reduce magazines and games and pastimes to a minimum. Unless they're being done with children or family for the sake of family bonding, that's a different thing. But alone, when you have your own, I'm talking about your own individual free time. So not any communal thing, not any family thing, the individual's free time. So let's say if it's a person who's fond of sports, I don't think any sports games are even being played anymore, that anybody could watch them or track the scores. But, they don't give up, right? So they're going to sports channels I'm sure will still be on, or I don't know what's going on. But Baral, you should stay away, right? So think, what were the type of things you used to do with your free time? Individually. Again, I'm talking about individually. Now attack that and say, no, this was not the best use of my individual free time. And because it's Ramadan and anything I do is going to be more than 700 times the reward. It's Ramadan. If I do something that's optional, it'll be the reward of a fard. If I do a fard, it will be 70 times the power. So I need to value this. I need to value my time. This is a very big lesson. One reason why it's important to take this lesson is because this can continue after Ramadan. The first level of fasting will not continue after Ramadan. Fine, we may, inshallah, do the 6 fasts of Shawwal, we may do some extra fasts, but perpetually it does not continue, right? The second level of fasting obviously must continue. That's not fasting, that's just taqwa, that we should stay away from sin. But this third thing that happens to us, many of us, it happens to Ramadan, in Ramadan, that we are more productive. That, if that could stay after Ramadan, then I think really this year we would have succeeded and we would have triumphed in Ramadan. And this is something that if we look back in the past, a lot of us would probably have to admit that what happens when Ramadan ends, I go back to all those things. I go back to all the surfing, I go back to all the news, I go back to the pastimes, I go back to the recreations, I go back to entertainment, and then again I become distant from reciting Quran, I become distant from acts of dhikr, I become distant from this, I become distant from my family, I used to spend time with them in Ramadan, again I become busy. So let's make this niyyah, let's make these du'as to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That Ya Allah, make me value life, let me live life to the fullest. And as Muslims we have a very different conception of that than a purely materialist person would, right? For them to live life to the fullest means more cars and more fancy food and etc., right? And for us, live life to the fullest means every moment to fill it more and more with the zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To have the zikr of Allah ta'ala in my family life, the remembrance of Allah ta'ala in my home life, the remembrance of Allah ta'ala in my individual life. Alhamdulillah, this is a blessing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestows in Ramadan, bestows upon a person in Ramadan. I'd mentioned in the Ramadan reminder earlier 4 things that we should try to increase our salah, we should try to increase our recitation of Quran, tilawah, we should try to increase our prayers and supplications to Allah Ta'ala, dua, and we should try to increase our dhikr, our remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The du'as that we should make in this month, right? Yes, get familiar with du'as from the Quran and the Sunnah, but try to make du'as from your heart and from your words. First, make du'a for yourself, right? That this Ramadan be successful, that this Ramadan have an effect on my heart, that may I finally have this golden treasure known as taqwa. May I finally attain this golden treasure known as dhikr and the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May I become an obedient slave of Allah ta'ala in the same way that I'm obeying the command to fast entirely. Ya Allah, give me tawfiq to obey all of your commands entirely. The same way I'm waking up at the time of suhoor. Ya Allah, let me always wake up for tahajjud, always wake up for fajr salah. The same way I enjoy hearing the adhan at Maghrib. Ya Allah, let me always enjoy hearing the adhan of the muadhin. Let there be no more blessed sound to my ears than the recitation of Quran, Kalamullah, or the dhikr of you, the mention of you, or the calling to deen, whether that is adhan or nasihat. So these are du'as. Lots of du'as. Allah Ta'ala increase me in my knowledge, my understanding of Quran, my understanding of Hadith. Even if you think that's not going to happen, I'm a busy person, what am I going to study? You should make du'a for these things. Make du'a for these things. You know, one big leap that we can make when we say increase our understanding of Quran, it doesn't mean I become a deep scholar. Actually, the first leap is that whatever Quran I already know, Ya Allah, make me understand it and live it and practice it. When we make dua, Allah make me learn the Sunnah, it doesn't mean you're going to be a super specialist scholar of Hadith. The first step is that all the hadith that I've heard up till now in my life, all of the things that I know about Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam already in my life, let me truly understand it, let me appreciate it, let me value it, let me practice it, let me embody it. Because there's so much we know that we don't practice. So Ramadan is a time to make these type of du'as for our deen. Ramadan is the best chance we have to do amal on udkhulu fi silmi kafa, to practice this Quranic a command from Allah Ta'ala that we should enter deen deeply, enter deen more deeply. We should make a lot of effort in this month. A lot of effort in this month. Now I'm going to show you another side. On the flip side, maybe some of us can't make so much effort. Maybe some of us can't do so much. Maybe because fasting is physically difficult for us. Maybe we have a lot of family responsibilities. There could be many reasons. Okay, do a little. Do as little. Do something. Do any amount other than nothing. And accept that. So this is what I said earlier. That okay, I'm a baby. Whatever I can do. Maybe for someone it's enough that okay, I wake up for suhoor, I make 2 minutes dua, I eat, I pray fajr, I go to sleep, I wake up later, I pray dhuhr, I rest, I pray asr, I sit a bit, I wait for maghrib, I break fast, I pray maghrib, I read some Quran, right? Maybe just few small things like sprinkles. Just I'm sprinkling my regular day with a little bit of deen. That's also fine. Because alhamdulillah, this is one of the beautiful things about Ramadan. So I know we talk a lot in these talks and push people do more, we're pushing ourselves do more. But there's one actual default, fundamental, amazing thing about Ramadan. It's just the fast itself. If you can, mashallah, with the tawfiq of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, just fast these 30 fasts, that itself is a tremendous that's why I said this fast, Allah Ta'ala Himself will reward it. That's just for the fast. It's not that a fast done with reciting 3 juz of Quran, making 1 hour of dua, doing this, and just the fast itself. And that's the mercy that Allah Ta'ala has sent. And another mercy you can feel is, alhamdulillah, all of us, we're like so, sometimes it amazes me. We are so certain about fasting. There are people who sleep at night, and normally in other months of the year, they sleep at night and they don't have the intention to wake up for Fajr. They don't even set the alarm for Fajr. There are people who sleep at night, haven't even prayed Isha. But look at us now, we're sleeping at night, 100% the intention is to fast tomorrow. Allahu Akbar. This is the default, this yaqeen, this himma, this rusukh fi niyyah. It means this deepness of firm resolve of intention. This is something very new in us. This has not normally been our approach to deen. In other words, to put you in simple English, we are hardcore when it comes to fasting. Hardcore. And we're not hardcore about anything else in deen. So achieve this month of Ramadan. It's an incredible blessing from Allah Ta'ala, incredible blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He gave us iman, that He remembered us, that He gave us the tawfiq to make this niyyah, to fast. So now Ramadan has begun. So there's no talk of preparing for Ramadan, right? Now it's just to dive deeper and deeper and deeper into Ramadan. More Quran, more taqwa, more ibadah, more love for one another, more forgiveness. There's another very important thing about this month, that while this is the month of forgiveness, of mercy, in the first sense that Allah Ta'ala is forgiving us and Allah Ta'ala being merciful to us, right? Allah Ta'ala forgiving us for our sins and Allah Ta'ala being merciful to us. It is also a month of forgiveness and mercy for us to forgive others and to be kind and merciful towards others. This is another very important aspect of Ramadan. Now, you may not always have to convey that forgiveness to someone. It's in your heart. What? The anger or the hatred or the malice or the spite or the burning or the irritation or the jealousy or the envy or the resentment or the grudge or the grievances, right? So English has a long vocabulary for this. All of that is in your heart, in our hearts. So this is the month to remove all of that. Just think that in the same way that we have so many sins in our record, in our book of deeds, and what do we want? And in this month of Ramadan, this is the month that through the forgiveness and mercy of Allah Ta'ala, all of those sins, inshallah, if we make true tawbah and we truly change, we hope that through Allah Ta'ala's forgiveness and mercy, all of those sins could leave our book of deeds. And exactly like that, we want to hope that by us trying to develop and make ourselves more forgiving and kind and merciful to others, all of this negativity in our heart can go away. All of the ill will, all of the resentment, all the hostility, all of it should go away. This is another wonderful way just to spend Ramadan. Another wonderful, important, critical goal to have in Ramadan. And this doesn't require a lot of deep introspection. Anyone who has this sort of hatred or hostility or ill feeling or ill will for any other human being, it's right there in the surface of their heart. And sometimes it's almost like in their foreground, ever present in their consciousness. It's not like they have to deeply reflect and go deep in their heart and see, is there anyone who I have a slight grievance for? No. They don't have to dive deep into their memory. They know, they understand. And because the reality is there are people who wrong. That we have wronged people have wronged us. Right? There are people who wrong one another in this world. So this is a moment then to forgive. This is a month in which we can learn to forgive. This is the core teaching of Deen. Yes, the teaching of, since I mentioned that word muhasaba, there is a particular type of introspection we should do in this month. Because there are some, not about others, some of our own inner diseases that are hidden. Why? Because we're in a state of self-delusion, self-deception. So this can be a time in Ramadan, not every moment, not necessarily every day, but sometimes to sit and reflect, and let's reflect on myself. You know what we call in English to be self-aware and self-critical. And if you've been hearing me recently, I say these two terms a lot now, because I think as an ummah, we have lost this, and we have lost sense of the value of being self-aware and self-critical. Unless we're always aware and critical of others, or aware of others' awareness and criticisms of us. No, the real thing is to be self-aware and self-critical. And that in our deen is called muhasaba. To reflect and introspect and see, what's really the matter with me? What are the problematic things in my character? And all of us have them. And but it's hard to face yourself. It's hard to reflect upon yourself. It's hard to dig deep. And so sometimes when you sit on the musalla, sometimes when you sit after salah, just sit there and just do this muhasaba. Alright, just think. And then if you find anything, or if you discover anything, or you realize anything, just turn to Allah Ta'ala and make dua. Ya Allah Ta'ala, I've realized this about myself. Ya Allah, guide me. Ya Allah, fix me. Improve me. Repair me. Allah Ta'ala, transform me. Change me. I realize this, and this realization, it's just the first step. What am I going to do? Or sometimes you may come to a realization about yourself that I've been like this for years. How am I going to change? So you are not going to change. Allah Ta'ala can change you. And you say, how is that going to happen? Well, look how Allah Ta'ala changed you in Ramadan. Look to what I just explained. You became hardcore about fasting. Well, where were you hardcore about anything in deen? Allah Ta'ala changed you. So that same Allah Ta'ala, one and only Allah Ta'ala, will use His one and only power, ala kulli shay'in qadir power. He can change us. So it's very good to do a lot of introspection in this month. And to, while we should definitely spend time with family, but there should be some individual time. This is another myth. A lot of people, a lot of Muslims, and there's some benefit in that, no doubt, and I acknowledge that about what I'm about to say. There are benefits in what I'm about to describe, no doubt, and I acknowledge that. But there are also some very subtle misunderstandings that can cause harm. And so that is all this, all this literature and all these, things that people share on WhatsApp about self-help and motivation, me time, personal time, that stuff has value, but we really need to sort of Islamicize it. Me time doesn't mean I'm lying on the bed and look, for people today, you know what me time is? That I get to do my surfing too. I gave the screen to the kids, and I had to do this, and I had to do that. Me time is what? Finally, I get to be alone with the phone myself. That's not me time. That's not anything of value for us. Yes, me time is this, that can I get some time to do my own. So try in Ramadan to find some moments where you can be alone, and use those moments for reflection and for remembrance. Remembrance of Allah Ta'ala, even silent remembrance. Just sit and think about Allah Ta'ala, remember Allah Ta'ala, miss Allah Ta'ala, yearn for Allah Ta'ala. Maybe silently repeat one of His Asma'ul Husna. Ya Rahman, Ya Rahman. Maybe not even saying it with your tongue. Just think it, feel it from your heart. So remembrance and reflection. Reflection. Realization. And that doesn't always have to be self-critical. Like I said, in other words, self-aware. That is good me time. Just me and my Allah. Me and my Allah time. That's the kind of me time that exists in our deen. Alright? So this is also an important thing to try to do a little bit every try every day, every night, whenever you feel. For some of us, maybe a nice time is after Fajr. For some, you have to see what your schedule is, what is a good time that works for you. We should make a lot of dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Allah ta'ala accept our fasting in the month of Ramadan. We should have fikr that Allah ta'ala accepts our ibadat in the month of Ramadan. And we should make a lot of dua for the ummah, a lot of dua for the oppressed, a lot of dua for the people who are hurting out there, that may Allah Ta'ala remove their hurt, may Allah Ta'ala remove their sadness, may Allah Ta'ala protect them from every anxiety, may Allah Ta'ala rescue them from every worry, and do a lot of shukr to Allah Ta'ala, that there's so many countless illnesses that you have already saved me from, so many countless difficulties and calamities that you have already saved me from. Ya Allah, whatever difficulties you've sent upon me, or you are yet going to send upon me in the future, then Ya Allah, send me the strength to bear them. Send me the strength to remain connected to you. Make me always firm and steadfast on Sirat al-Mustaqim. So we make dua that Allah Ta'ala give all of us and our family and friends and loved ones the tawfiq and the himmah to spend this Ramadan in the best way that we can, and may this Ramadan draw us ever and always deeper, closer in our relationship to Him. Wa akhiru da'wana an alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.